Hey dudes and chicks and neither of those was tone patty. Welcome to Make First Time. My name is Katie. Today, I am going to be using products from a canceled brand and talking about the conclusion of the Ensley Reign saga. And you're never gonna see another video like this again. I just can't do it. I actually had to do this video today because I have been a fucking wreck. And so I'm just gonna give you disclaimers. This video is long. It's disorganized. It's chaotic. I don't even like this video. I actually hate it. So you might just wanna, opt out right now because this video sucks. And if you are gonna watch it, I would just ask that you watch all the way to the end, because I kind of process and come through and say a lot of different things, and it really isn't until the very end that I tell you what I've decided to do and why I'm gonna do it. So please don't just fast forward to the end to hear and then whatever, because I feel like the information in this video has value. And I have a lot of new subscribers on here, which, when I did that video, when I posted that video the other day, I was pretty certain that I was going to have a lot of people abandon me, a lot of people reject me. I was certain that my channel was going to shrink significantly, and I wasn't scared because I give a fuck about how big my channel is. I was scared because I don't want to be abandoned or rejected, just like anybody else. That's all of our deepest fear, is that we're going to be abandoned and rejected, and it's going to prove our deepest fear, which is that we're not lovable. And so I was terrified to upload that video, and I had somebody say something about there was one person whose comments were so difficult for me to navigate, but ultimately, I just want to say it was not easy for me to upload that video. I was scared. I was really scared. And also, I don't live without fear. When I'm really scared, I do what I know is right, and I do what I feel like my higher power is telling me to do. I try my hardest to live by my higher power's will, and I ask my higher power, what's your will for me today? And please give me the power to carry that out. I'm in recovery. I've been in recovery for almost 13 years. And one of the things they say is that when it's your higher power's will, the doors will just come rushing open. And that isn't always my experience. Sometimes living in my higher power's will is actually really difficult. And really painful. And I have actually struggled a lot in the last couple days, and I'll talk about it in the video. But like I said, I would just ask that if you're going to watch the beginning, please watch all the way through to the end. I'm sorry it's so long. I actually hate this video. And I'm going to be using all products that you can no longer obtain because the brand was canceled and it really wasn't even true. And so I'm not saying that that's what's going on now, but I am telling you why I've decided to question every fucking thing, which I would anyway, but also how damaging it can be to just cancel. Please watch all the way to the end. If you're gonna watch the beginning, please watch all the way to the end. You're probably gonna have to pause it and go live your life and come back and pause it and go live your life. I am emotional. I'm gonna try my hardest to cut out anything that's fucking lame, but I feel like most of it isn't lame, and I feel like it's necessary. So if you're interested in seeing all that, that's it. If you're interested in hearing me blather on about my life, my experience, things of that nature, then hang out. Okay, I'm primed with my P. Louise primer in numero 2. So I'm going to be using a canceled brand, and it doesn't really matter what it is because you can't fucking get it anymore. I'm going to be using Lele Posh. Recently, I'm actually friends with the owner. She lives in Montana, like I do. And so we have hung out a couple times, not several times, probably 2 or 3, I'm not sure. But the last time I went and saw her, her brand is dead. And the last time I went and saw her, I went over there to actually share the dragon palette that I got and show it to her, because who the fuck am I going to show that to besides you guys? And I just couldn't film. So I went over to her house and she said, I'm going to take you to the Lele graveyard. And I actually kind of choked back tears because it was really fucking sad. I'm kind of a wreck right now. I carry the weight of people's problems pretty heavily. And I actually think I'm kind of in a trauma response right now, because I'm not trying to make it all about me. I'm just like kind of telling you guys where I'm at, that I think I'm actually in a trauma response right now. I'm having a hard time thinking. I'm having a hard time like coming up with solutions. I'm actually having a hard time getting out of bed. So, I mean, I'm not crying around. I'm just saying that's where I'm at. And so I'm going to take whatever the fuck brush, it doesn't really matter. And I'm just going to start putting on some makeup. So I have a lot of new people here. I'm going to go into this navy blue right here. I'm not sure what any of these shadows are from, but basically I have the Goddess palette and I have the Arcana palette. And I don't really know how any of these things are going to perform because I haven't used that much of Lele Posh, because when it was a brand, I couldn't afford it ever. And so I'm just really sad that I never got to be a part of that. Basically, I went over there, she took me to the Lele Posh graveyard, and what I heard, I don't remember all the details because sometimes I don't hear all the details, I just hear the feelings. But essentially, God, that's good. And it's actually like performing really nicely. Look at how it just like filled that crease. Basically, her brand was canceled because essentially her makeup, somebody had made a purchase from her under a false name that was of ethnic. The name was an ethnic name and it wasn't even real. The person wasn't even real. It was somebody that used a fake address from an abandoned building and made the purchase under like an ethnic name. And then basically like she got burned down on Reddit. She got burned down on Instagram. And her actual Instagram account was like flooded with fake accounts. Basically, it was like a riot in her socials and it like burned down everything. Like I think she said she got 20,000 emails from the same person or from like a choice few people like over and over, and basically had no choice but to cancel her brand because they were like harassing her at work and shit. And it wasn't even true. Like what they were saying wasn't true. For those of you that are new here, which I have a lot of new people here, I just came back from a 3-month hiatus from filming videos because I could not fucking stand the online bullying for a single more second without creating a video about it and like speaking my heart, but I just didn't fucking feel like it. I got tired of trying to create a video and tap dancing around everybody's feelings. And you know, I created a video one time and then an owner of a brand didn't want me to post it because she didn't want to deal with the bullying. And then I created another video and like lost the footage. And so I finally just went live. And if you guys want to watch it, it's, I'll try to remember to link it, but I probably won't. It's the live stream I did that I talked about. It's the roundup of all the products I got and it's a live stream. So I think it's like, it says roundup of all the new products I have or something, because I had all these new palettes that I wasn't using because I wasn't doing content, because I felt like I couldn't authentically any longer create one single more video acting fucking like I didn't think anything was going on when it was. And so I was like creating content for the people who were sending me PR, but I didn't want to make those PR videos about this issue that I had underlying. And so I was doing that, but like all the while, like this was like building and building. And I'm the kind of person who's like pretty well ventilated. I don't like to hold things in. I just had one of the people in the comments. I don't have a ton of things that I can use. I only have 4 matte shadows, so I'm just going to create something pretty simple here. I'm going into this color right here. In the comments telling me that I wasn't authentic, that I was actually faking it, that I wasn't really being authentic. She actually proceeded to say, "You've already turned your back on Ensley Reign. You've already canceled her." And to that person, with all due respect, I, with full confidence, want to say to you, what the fuck do you actually think I'm doing here? Like, don't you think it would have been much easier for me to just continue to create videos and just quietly not use Ensley Rain anymore without making a big scene, without canceling the brand. I don't need to cancel a brand to just not use them on my channel. I don't need to make a forthcoming statement to the whole world saying, I'm standing against this, I'm not using this brand, I stand for this, da 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 da. I don't have to do any of that to continue to create content without supporting the brand. I don't. I also don't need anybody's fucking permission to continue to use the brand. I would just continue to use it. And so, like, honestly, I really want to know, like, what do you think I'm doing here by creating these videos? Because honestly, when I posted that last video, I basically thought that I was going to be unfollowed, unsubscribed to, everybody was going to hate me, and I was going to lose a lot. I was risking a lot to put that video out. And so I just say to you, what do you think I'm doing here? You know, you think I just like to hear myself talk about altruistic fucking, you know, notions and like trying to like, what do you think I'm doing here? I'm actually trying my hardest not to cancel a brand. I'm trying to be informed and I'm trying not to cancel a brand because I believe so strongly in not canceling a brand. I just believe in it so strongly. And I'm going to tell you why. So there's a lot of new people here. I'm not going to go all the way to the brow with this because I don't have anything else. Oh, you know, you guys, I have gotten so many great fucking comments from you guys that it actually, like, you guys are in my mind, you're in my heart, you're in my soul. You have actually, like, your comments are a part of who I am now, period. I'm a crier. I just want you guys to know. I'm not gonna fucking cry all over my big desk or anything, but I just want you to know that, like, your guys' information, your comments, everything I've read in the last couple days, I've read more than once. I've tried to respond, and then there was a certain point where I just had to stop because I felt like I was actually writing a thesis. Like, responding to the comments was like writing my college paper. And like, it was just getting like, I just couldn't organize it anymore. I couldn't keep doing it. So I had to just like stop and cry. And I cried a lot last night. I cried a lot this morning. I probably will cry during this video, but you won't see it. What was I saying? So what the fuck do you think I'm doing here? Don't you think I could have just as easily fucking quietly slipped out and nobody would have even ever been the wiser? You guys wouldn't have even been bothered by this shit, but I don't fucking do that. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about me because a lot of you guys are so new, you don't really know. And this might be a place where you don't want to be because a lot of what I do on my channel is I actually move through my recovery. I'm a recovering addict. I was actually a heavy IV meth user for, I don't know, probably the better portion of 10, 12 years. I know I look good. Kidding. No, I do look pretty good. But anyways, and so I got clean in 2012 and basically like I have actually not had an easy time of it. I've wanted to use for about 10 years of it. I don't know how I didn't. When I was about 40, I'd just gotten dumped and I was a single mom and I looked in the rearview mirror of my Jeep. My kid was like 4 or 5. And I realized that the only makeup that I'd ever worn was my whore red lipstick, which was Blackberry by Revlon. And I saw it bleeding out into the wrinkles around my lips. And I looked like that lady from American Horror Story who always has like that aura around her lips that makes her look super unstable. And also like, she always kind of looks a little desperate and I don't know. I basically like realized in that moment that my beauty was fading. I was getting older and I was single and I was a single mom. And I you know, it hasn't been the first time that I've had this happen to me, but I just looked in the mirror and I just saw damaged goods. And I pretty much was sure that nobody was ever going to love me again. And that has actually been true. I have basically been single since then. And I've had a couple of things, but I am damaged goods and I'm not sure anybody's ever going to love me again. I've learned to love myself and a big part of that journey has been makeup. For those of you who are new here, this color is the one that I always jump to in a lot of palettes, and this color is famously difficult for brands to make and for people to use. And the reason why is because your undertones are going to be the opposite of this particular blue. This is like the bluest of blues. It's the coolest blue. It's like Blurple almost. And so I'm always like jumping straight into this color because it's like a difficult color. If you're ever having trouble with the blue, wrap it with a yellow because it will turn it green in the transition where it goes from one color to the next, and it will match your skin tone a little better. Like, that's my trick for using blue. I always feel pretty powerful when I wear blue. It's like my power color. That's just a little bit of background about me. Since I've been in recovery, I've been able to do a few things, and I've actually had some epic fucking failures. And one of the things I've been able to do in recovery is graduate from college, and I have a degree in social work. And so what that means is, I don't think a lot of people know what that actually means to have a degree in social work. I think that people think that social workers are like, you like work for CPS, but the curriculum of social work is actually about learning how to help people gain access to in systems. So like people who don't have access to things like money, jobs, education, services, and those people are minorities, people in poverty, women, single moms, people with mental illness, people with addictions, kids, LGBTQIA, all of those things are minorities. Our education was in learning what systems are in place, learning how people are hindered by them, learning how people don't have access to the good things in life in this country because of the systems that are in play, and learning how to help them navigate those systems so that they can have access to the good shit, right? All of those people, minorities, all of them minorities, all of those things are actually minorities. People with mental illness, people who are poor, people who are people of color, people who have mental illness, people, disabilities, I'll call it, people who are homeless, people who are, not straight, not white. And how can we as social workers help them navigate those systems by helping them use their own strengths, find their own unique resources? Like, what do they have access to? What do they have within themselves? What do they have within their communities? What do they have access to in their families? What are the things that they can draw on to get access to better shit in their life? Mental health services, medical services, money, jobs, housing. How can they get the shit that they need, right? And usually it's just the basics, like getting their needs met, their basic safety needs. But for me, it wasn't that, because I grew up in such severe poverty that I didn't have electricity and shit. So like for me, when I first got into social work, my motivation, my true passion was people in poverty. How can people who are trapped by the culture of poverty get out of it? How can they get out of fucking poverty? And so that was my motivation, and I didn't really care about like women's, rights, people of color, what struggles were, like people with really anything else. My world was real small when I started, right? Over the course of my college education, I learned about racism. I learned about systemic oppression. I learned about inequality for women. I learned about how to help all of those minorities navigate the systems in place to get them a better quality of life. That's my education. And in that education, I learned how to use counseling. I learned how to use motivational interviewing. I learned how to, coordinate and facilitate groups and communities. And I really was wanting to move in the direction of social policy, like actually fighting for change in social policy. And when I graduated, I went into a field, and it actually gave me a lot of opportunities. Like I basically, where I got, my intro, it says, hey dudes and chicks and neither if those rules don't apply to you. Well, basically when I started my channel, I had just been asked to go and speak at the National Conference for the ACLU on reform in the criminal justice system in Montana. And there was this point where, as you guys have seen, like, I kind of have this pretty amazing ability to speak to people about things that nobody fucking thought of, and like say it in a way that like makes it a little easier for people to hear. And there was a point where we were all at this table having a conversation, and someone was talking about, yeah, we've already sent letters to these judges and we're gonna hold them accountable and we're gonna do this. And I said to him, I go, you know what? Like, that's pretty easy for you, who has actually probably never even been to jail, to say that you're gonna go after these judges. But like, the truth of it is, if you go after a judge and you try to hold them accountable, they are in a position of power that does not affect you at all. And you're just gonna make it worse. You're just gonna make it worse so that when people go up against those judges, their sentences are gonna be more strict. They're gonna be like, people who think, it's funny to me how people like, okay, so here's like a part of me that like I don't talk about, but like, I think that people who think they have rights are like adorable. Because people who are poor don't. People who are poor don't have rights. People who are addicted to drugs don't have rights. People who, you know, don't have access or don't have an education, they don't have rights. Similarly to a current, you know, it's all the same. I mean, the experience, the complex matrix of the experience for each individual is different, but the details are the same. It's like, we're all just like, none of us have rights. We're just like these, you know, if you want to know what my political beliefs are, basically like, I don't have any. Sorry, I'm peeling because I'm inconsistent with my skincare, and then it peels, then I peel. We're all just fighting for basic rights. And so when we were at that table, they were like, oh my God, I never even thought of that. And I'm like, I know. The reason why you didn't think of it is because you don't have this lived experience. And so basically the point of every like movement of every minority is that if you don't have that as your experience, the only thing you get to do is say, I didn't know. What questions do I need to ask? Please help me get educated. And that's it. Like, that's all you can do. And so I learned a lot about how to do that in college, but I also learned a lot about how to do that from working with the ACLU, because the people in Montana, I don't know how it is everywhere, but the people in Montana that work for the ACLU, they are masterful at that. Like, I'm so sorry. I value your experience. I see you are valid, your experience is valid, like, how can I learn? That's a skill that I was able to learn in a very specific and intentional environment of people who were all working in that way and using those methods. So, I mean, it kind of brings up this question, like, how is anybody supposed to learn how to be like that if they're not like that? They just get fucking cut out. Nobody's gonna learn how to, I wouldn't have learned how to do that, you know? Nobody's open-minded. No one is open-minded. Everyone is just like doing exactly what the people in their own communities are doing, and they're practicing this thing called ethnocentrism. And basically what that is that we all think our way is the right way according to our own standards. That's what ethnocentrism is. And everyone is doing it, and no one's gonna get an opportunity to learn how to do differently if they get completely shut out or cut out by the groups that are practicing those ways. So my intro, I actually created that intro at the same time as I was speaking at this conference, where I learned some hard, painful fucking lessons at this conference about myself and about the impact that my programming, my lack of information, has affected other people and how it hurts them. I had some painful fucking lessons at that conference. And I actually did a video about it a long time ago when I did my video on the Black Lives Matter movement. And if you guys want to watch it, you can go find it. I wasn't as good at doing content as I am now, obviously. I was kind of a beginner, but I'm just trying to get this. Just gonna go one more little dippy poo because I feel like I'm not quite even. This eye never looks as good as my other one, so it's kind of hard for me to get this good. And I honestly feel like it's because of my vision, not because of my technique. I actually feel like I'm doing my makeup. Okay, so in that video I talked about my journey from color blindness to what I would say is cultural competence. So part of that journey was like this painful experience that I had that was humiliating, and my defense mechanisms immediately went up, which is why I did the video, because I know that if my defense mechanisms went up, then so are a lot of other people's, and here is how I work through it, yada, yada, yada. I created my intro because at the time, I call everyone dude, and I grew up in an era where women would look at you and say, don't call me dude. Do I look like a dude to you? And I actually have had one person say that to me in my comments. Don't call me dude, I'm not a dude. Okay, old timer. No, just kidding. Kinda. But anyways, so I had just gotten done at this conference for the ACLU where, you know, we were kind of learning about pronouns, learning about the movement, learning about LGBTQIA fighting for rights in Montana. If you think the fight for rights is fucking hard, Montana is like a fucking cave, okay? Anyways, red state, people fucking running around flying Old Glory. Anyway, was the influence that was the influence from which I created my intro, hey dudes and chicks, and neither if those rules don't apply to you. It just came together, and it was like influenced by this conference that I spoke at for the ACLU in like 2018 or 2019, I don't remember. I can't get that fucking line, and I can't tell if it's actually a line or if I'm just like seeing things not very clearly. I'm gonna go for another dippy poo because I feel like that's the only thing I can do is apply more product. I feel like I'm always inclined to be a little bit more careful on this side because I'm not as good on it, and it's with my non-dominant hand, so fuck. Where's that? I'm just gonna use this brush to kind of get that. And the reason why I'm actually using a different brush is because I'm distracted and I'm not on my best game. For those of you who are new here, my blend is fucking fire. I'm like the fire blender. I'm like the blend avatar. The last fucking shadow blender. Also, I say dumb fucking things, but not every hit can be a home run. I'm a dork. Growing up, I'm not a boy in makeup, but what I am is a girl in nail bags. So growing up, I was a tomboy, and I mean, I was a real tomboy. Like, I didn't dress like a boy. Like, I was actually like hunting and fishing, and in high school I wanted to take welding because all my friends, like, I was building motorcycles and riding motorcycles and dressing like a boy, but that's not, you know what I mean? Like, I was a girl though, and I always got offended by the term tomboy. I was like, no, I'm not a tomboy, I'm just a girl who fucking builds fucking engines and shit. And so I was a construction worker for many fucking years, and so I wasn't a boy in makeup, I was a girl in nail bags. And it was at a time when women didn't work in construction at all. There was one chick who ran a fucking concrete company, like when I was working concrete. And that's it. And we were special. We were the exception, not the rule. And I didn't fucking go on the job site and just look cute all day. I killed myself on those jobs. And I'll tell you right now, I was always paid less than everybody else. I was never treated as I was a valuable employee except by one. And I fucking worked myself to death. And I always did it. And it wasn't because I was like trying to do a good job. It was because I was trying to prove my masculinity. And I spent my better portion of my life trying to prove my masculinity in the drug world, on the job site, everywhere. I got called sir all the fucking time. I stand like a man. My hair, people think that I got called sir because my hair was short, and maybe that's true, but it was also like my stance, my stature, my muscular build, and I just like, was very masculine. To tell you the truth, I got so much big dick energy, I can't even get a boyfriend now. Like, still. And the truth of it is, like, the guys that I've like dated since I've been in recovery, they've told me, like, Katie, dudes don't flirt with you because they're fucking scared. It actually hurts my feelings. My last boyfriend that like broke up with me, my friend told me, Katie, you and him were never gonna work because he is not alpha. And she said, you are actually the most alpha woman I have ever met. That's me when I say, if you just like my personality and my boyish charm, that's not just a clever line. I actually am a tomboy, and when I started using makeup, I actually felt like I was coming out of the closet. And I felt like I was dressing in drag, and admitting my femininity has been like a big part of my recovery because I just didn't want to. So that's my experience as far as like gender related issues in my life. I was not a boy in makeup, and I don't even propose to like think that like what I was as difficult, but my life as a tomboy was difficult. It had its own set of difficulties, and it's my experience, and it was difficult for me. So I didn't want to be placed in a box, and I didn't want to. I was raised with the value of, Katie, no man is worth your tears. Katie, no man is going to come save you. You got to save yourself. And so my grandma was in the military in the 20s, and she got passed over for a job by a man that she was more qualified for. And those are the kinds of values that I was raised up with. I didn't have a dad. I was raised by all women. My grandma, my auntie, and then later my mom. Recently, I've been thinking a lot, like several times the thought has crossed my mind, man, I wish I could just smoke a joint because I have been waking up a fucking mess. The weight of this problem has been weighing on me so fucking heavily that, man, this looks fucking good. Like, wow. The weight of this has been weighing on me so heavily that I've actually worked myself into tears for 2 mornings in a row. I can't think. I fucking went to work yesterday and all I fucking did was look at my phone, read your comments. I couldn't work. I was like sick with this. I'm sick actually, like mentally, I'm like sick. My mental health is like fucked up right now from this whole situation. It's not just makeup. It's everything. So in recovery, I've been in recovery for almost 13 years, and the way that I used, people say this all the time. I don't really feel this way, but I used so heavily that I'm sure that if I told you how hard I used, you would definitely be like, you're lucky to be alive. But I don't think I can be killed because of the way that I used. I'm certain that nothing can kill me. Certainly not a cold. That's not a thing for me because I have tried to die so many fucking times. And quite frankly, when I was using actually gave me a reason to live. And the reason why is because my worldview, what I see when I look at the world, is really painful for me. And I'm really getting a wash of it right now. Okay, I cannot blend this the way that I blend usually because I don't wanna. But it's looking pretty good, huh? So the last couple days has really been difficult for me, and I'm not like, oh, poor me, it's been so difficult for me just to think about it. Like, I can't imagine the difficulty that it is to like actually live with this, but I have my own fucking difficulties, and those difficulties are this. I've spent 13 years not using drugs. I came from pretty severe neglect and trauma. And when I look at the problem and I know what the solution is and I see nobody willing to do it, it makes me feel hopeless. And hopelessness is a dangerous place for me to live in. I've spent 13 years in recovery. I basically have wanted to use for 10 of it. I don't know how I didn't do it. And I have ADHD that's like so crippling that basically like I've spent like many, many years gutting it out until just recently I finally went and got medical help for my ADHD, and it has like changed the game for me. Today I woke up and I thought I just have to move, and I swear to you, if I wouldn't have taken my meds, I wouldn't have been able to clean my brushes, I wouldn't have been able to wash my face, and I wouldn't have been able to push start on this video. There have been 3 times that I've almost used in recovery, and that was because I was trying to be a part of this world and I was like failing. This world is extremely difficult for me to navigate. I don't really understand it. I don't understand how to like participate, and I'm constantly at war with everything. I question everything, and that is a generational thing. Okay, I love this. It looks beautiful. So 3 times in my recovery, I have actually put a substance to my lips, and I don't know how the fuck I didn't do it. And it was basically like me trying to like succeed, work, go through a breakup. It started to feel like nothing was ever going to get better after like I actually rolled a joint at 9 years and 9 months, and I don't know why I didn't smoke it. I just honestly was scared. I was scared that if I used, I was going to change my mind and I wouldn't be able to stop. So that's the only reason why I didn't do it. One of the things that I took from college was like learning to think critically. And learning to think critically requires having sources of information at your disposal that you don't already have. Sources of information that say things that you don't already believe from people that you don't normally listen to. So like in college, we learned how to take these new pieces of information. I had a professor who, she did my race class and gender class, and she said, I don't care what you know. The way to pass this class is to use only sources of information that I give you, only talking about from the viewpoint of these pieces of information. You don't get a share on what you already know. You only get to use this. Because the race class and gender class is like, nobody can get it. Like nobody can get that information into their heads. So what is it about those particular topics of oppression? Race, class, and gender. People cannot fucking get the fuck out of their own way. They cannot remove their own ideas long enough to even get the information into their fucking heads. Why? Why is that? Why did my professor literally tell them, I don't give a fuck? She literally said to us, I don't care what you think. If you say anything that isn't directly from this information that I give you, you can't pass this class. That class changed my whole fucking life. And so why is it that those particular topics are so fucking difficult for people to fucking change their minds about? As you guys know, I love a pink and blue look. These are all just single shadows. She basically just she had drawers and drawers and drawers filled with single shadows that are all not gonna be used. I'm gonna go in with this brush from the Fantasy Cosmetica, and I'm gonna use this pink. And I'm just gonna kind of go right here with it. I love putting pink and blue together. So at a certain point in my recovery, my friend looked at me and said, Katie, like, what do you do where time just disappears? Because I've spent many years clean. Here's what I do that makes time disappear. Fucking drugs. That's what I do that makes time disappear. And so when I couldn't take drugs anymore and I made a choice that I had to like engage in this planet, I'm going to tell you guys, the way I was so messed up that I didn't even know about 9/11. I didn't even know that happened. My friend came over and was like, dude, did you hear what just happened? And she was like talking to me about the Twin Towers. I barely remember the conversation. I do not remember 9/11. I don't remember what happened in our community because I was not a part of this community. There was most of the better part of my life, I did not have any faith or connection at all in humanity, the human race, the work system, any of it. I literally was completely detached from anything that was going on. I was such a fucking hater that I would literally see a chick with a yoga mat and I would be like, look at that stupid bitch in her yoga pants wearing fucking going to yoga. Ooh, I literally had no, and people would laugh. Like, I make people laugh. Like, when I talked about Queen Baby the other day, or like King Baby is the original version, I was the clown. And so I would just make fun of people all the time and everybody would laugh because like I get something, I feel a sense of value from making people laugh. Like, that would make me feel like an asset in my community if I could just be entertaining, if I could constantly entertain people, then like that makes me feel needed, which feeds my ego. So people love me because I'm funny and that makes me feel important. And so I would just make fun of people all the time for the dumbest of things. Like, you want to talk about a hater. I'm a hater. I'm a recovering hater. And really, aren't we all? Aren't we all recovering haters? Aren't we all like trying to recover from some character defect that is not serving us or anybody else in the world? Aren't we all recovering from something like that? So we're all in recovery. A lot of us are in recovery from addictions, even food addiction. Fucking, we're trying to like stop spending money and we can't. We're addicted to like unhealthy relationships. So like, that's not my fucking problem or my fucking place to tell anybody, but like, aren't we all recovering from something? Man, that looks really cool. I almost want to take this yellow and use that yellow as the blender shade. I'm going to. Okay, I actually am feeling like myself. I'm going to use this yellow and I'm going to use my Zoeva 227 to... fuck. Am I going to regret this? Oh, so anyways, my friend said to me one time, what do you do where just time like disappears? And there was like nothing at the time. Like, I had nothing. Like, this was a long time ago in my recovery and like nothing. Like, I'm basically counting down the days. Counting down the days till I graduate. Counting down days till I get out of jail. Counting down days until I fucking can get a place. Counting down days until I can get this job or get this amount of money or get this many subscribers. Like, I am counting days all the time. Counting days until I can get the fuck off this planet and move on to the next life. Like, I am counting days. I am very uncomfortable in my own skin, and the last 8 months has been actually the best my mental health has been ever in my entire recovery. There's a few things that I do that I lose time at this point. And one of them is listen to heavy metal. I lose time when I listen to music. I lose time when I ride motorcycles. And I lose time when I do my makeup. Those are the three things. When I hang out with my friends, I lose time. When I do my makeup and when I ride. And when I'm in the pit, I lose time. And so like, those are the only things that I do ever where I'm actually not like waiting to do the next thing, where I can't fucking stand another second in my own skin, where, you know, that's it. Makeup, music, and motorcycles. And all of these things are things that I've learned I've been able to find in recovery. And it's taken me a really long time. It takes a long time to recover from being an asshole, from being an addict, from being a lot of things. It takes time. It doesn't just happen overnight. Like, one of the things that I found like so valuable, like, and you know, I got asked to speak in legislature. Like, I've been asked to speak at a lot of things in regards to rights for people re-entering from the criminal justice system and things of that nature. And so one of the things is that, so like, I went to my first treatment program like a long fucking time ago in like 2005. And I didn't get clean until 2012. And it took me many years to get clean and stay clean. And so when I got out of that first treatment program, you would see that I relapsed. And so you would say that that program wasn't effective. But that program was absolutely effective. It just didn't look, you didn't see how it played out. It took me, you know, 14 years to get 7 or whatever. You know what I mean? So the program was effective. You just couldn't see that for another 10 years in my life and in my results. And so changes of that gravity take time. I've been working a program of recovery. I'm a 12-stepper, so I work a program of recovery in Narcotics Anonymous, which means I've been working the 12 steps of Narcotics Anonymous, 1 through 12. I'm on my 5th time. I've worked them 5 times in 12 years. And it's taken me all of that to get to the point where I am right now, where I can actually like practice spiritual principles in my life and everything like that. So like, change of this gravity, it takes time. Changing systems takes time. Changing fucking beliefs takes time. And so just because nobody's seeing what Ensley Reign is doing right now, like, doesn't mean that it's not working. So I messaged the owner of Ensley Reign this morning and I haven't heard back from her, but I just asked her, like, what are you thinking? What were you thinking? I said, what were you thinking? Exclamation point, question mark, exclamation point, question mark. And then I said, and actually, what were you thinking? Like, I want to hear your truth. I really went a different direction with this, and I thought that it was good without the green, and so now I kind of look like a clown. I'm just going to kind of blue it up, and that's all I can do. But man, these fucking neon shadows are really good. I knew they would be. So I'm opening a brand new tube of NYX Glitter Primer. And I'm going to use what a treat my base brush is. So yeah, like a long time ago, I'm going to talk now about people. Because somebody said on here, which I'm just going to say before I forget, there's a video it's by Jen Love. And she used to be Jen Love's Reviews. And now it's just Jen Love. And one of the people in the comments suggested to go watch that video. And I also am giving the same suggestion. So when I first started talking about Ensley Rain, I thought that it was questionable whether or not what the post she liked was actually transphobic or hate towards trans. And since then, I've done a lot of research. And okay, I'm going to open the Goddess palette and I'm going to use this color right here. It's like a blue to purple shift. Oh yeah, you can see that easily. Oh, why did I put this green in here when I was going to do a blue to purple shift? Dang it. I'm so grateful that I have this Goddess palette because like it's like just so special. So anyways, I've done a lot of research since then. And in fact, yes, the Gays Against Groomers is a very hateful page. It is very transphobic. And so they talk a lot about like the trans agenda. Like I was like scrolling through it last night before I went to bed, and one of the people in the comments suggested to go watch the video by Jen Loves, and I also want you to go watch the video by Jen Loves because it is very good. And if I don't remember to link it in the description box, then just go to the video, YouTube search Jen Love, L-U-V, and then Ensley Rain. And because it's a live stream, and so it's not going to show up in her actual video feed. There's a lot of people who believe that there's a trans agenda, that like people who are trans are trying to like change everybody to trans, or I don't know what the fuck. I don't know what the fuck people believe, but like there is no trans agenda. People are just trying to live their lives, and like people who are trans, and people who aren't trans aren't. And so like people are scared that like transgenders are just going around trying to turn everybody into drag queens and shit. And quite frankly, who really gives a fuck if people are drag queens? Like I don't care if people, I don't care if every boy on this planet fucking gets in a dress right now and starts fucking putting on makeup. I don't really care. Like that's not a problem for me. Honestly, they could probably all use it. Look at what we're left with. I got nothing. So that's really beautiful, honestly. We're not going to talk about that because nobody can get it, but damn. That's so fucking pretty. I wish I wouldn't have put that green in there, god damn it. It just really changed everything putting that green in. Fuck, I should have just left it pink. Damn it. Why did I do that? I always do it. So anyways, there is no trans agenda. There is no like transgenders aren't running around trying to turn everybody trans and trying to wipe out, like one of the things that it says. I mean, honestly, they're pretty, their rhetoric is pretty compelling. They're like, turning people trans is like genocide to gays. So basically what they're saying is if everybody who has like feels like they should be trans, if everybody actually transitions into the opposite sex, then that will like wipe out the gays, the people who are gay. It's actually pretty insane. It's pretty insane. So yes, without a doubt, without question, these posts that Ensley Reign liked are without a doubt hateful. They are. They're like actually disgusting. I was actually disgusted. I actually had to go to bed. I was actually tired after looking at these posts. It actually made me world weary. I'm going to use this color on the lower lash line, a color that doesn't matter because it's a dead brand. It doesn't look dead, does it? It looks very much alive. Because when I first started all this, I thought, is it really hateful? Okay, I need to actually take this a little bit higher because, again, I have underestimated how much my eyes have drooped down in my old age. The shadow is cool because it actually applies really well with no glitter primer. So a lot of shadows don't do that. You have to actually extend your glitter primer to get your line to extend, and this just isn't behaving that way. I really appreciate formulas that do that, because then I don't have to go back in with my glitter primer and raise my fucking line again because it's like won't go any higher than where the glitter primer is. A lot of shadows don't do that. Notoriously Morbid's formula does do that, so there. I've noticed. Okay, so essentially there is no fucking agenda. Like, you guys just gotta watch this video by Jen. I'll try to link it in the description box, but if not, go find it yourself. So the thing about it is there's a lot of people who believe that there is an agenda, and they're like, so I'm like a mad conspiracy theorist. And so like when people tell me conspiracy theories, I like listen to them, because like, you don't need to tell me every single conspiracy theory to make me believe that there's a conspiracy. I know that there is. I just don't know what it is. And also, if you try to tell me that our government is the solution to that, then I'm going to think you're crazy, because our government, I don't give a fuck if it's Democrat or Republican. They are not. I don't believe that our government is the solution to our problems. So I'm like an anarchist. If you want to know what my political beliefs are, I'm like an anarchist. I truly believe that control is the exact opposite. When people are like, well, that couldn't be because if we didn't have laws and then people would just all kill each other. No, killers would just kill each other. People who are killers would kill each other. People who are trans are gonna transition. People who are gay are going to be gay. People who are not gay, I'm going to tell you, like, I've had a couple experiences in my life. Like, I have, like, dabbled, right? I've, like, had experiences. Like, I've had, like, sexual encounters with women 2 different times. I've had a foursome with a woman before. And, like, I'm not gay. I'm not even bi. I would say that it's not off the table for me. So, in that way, I would say, like, I would be... like, I have, like, I'm not bi. It wasn't off the table for me. Like, I've experimented. And so, like, if I think about, like, my kiddo, and, like, I think about everything in terms of my kiddo, because, like, when I think about what really fucking tugs on my heartstrings, it's my kid. And so if my kiddo was going to experiment with that, I would just have faith that, like, in her journey, like, her journey is not my journey. If my daughter was trans and she wanted to transition and I allowed her to do that, and then at some point she was like, I totally regret it. Why did you let me do that? That's her journey. It's not my fucking journey. It's her journey, right? And so, like, her, like, going through that journey, I would just be there for her, and I would support her in a way that's, like, valid and respects her and her wishes, right? Not as a child, but as a person. And so, like, Anyway, you guys got to watch this video by Jen Loves. Anyways, so moving on. I don't believe in social control. I honestly, if you want to know, I believe that people should have the right to bear arms and have access to medical treatment. I don't believe that poor people should just get to go die. Like if you're poor, then you can just die. I don't believe that. I believe that in the richest country in the world, everyone should be able to have a coat in the winter. I just believe that. And I believe that that should be on the fucking consciences and minds of the people in the community. But we don't have community anymore. So that's sad. Boo-hoo. Let's move on. Essentially, when I created this channel, I created it as a place for people who were slipping through the cracks. People who were older than everybody else that was on YouTube doing makeup, that still wanted to do like crazy, like bold, edgy makeup and like didn't want to just like do neutral matte looks because of their textured skin. People that didn't fit in listening to pop fucking music, happy music, fucking... I created this channel as a space for people that had nowhere else to go on YouTube in the beauty space. So like that includes a lot of people. Everyone is included here. Somebody said, I don't think that the makeup space has any room for bigots. Now, hear my heart. I'm not into bigotry, but I'll tell you this. I had a woman who was one of my clients as a hairstylist because in recovery, I've done several different things. And she believes that Trump is the fucking thing that is going to save us all. She believed that Trump was going to come back into office. She believed that he was never out of office. Like, I have all these conspiracies, like every conspiracy that is on this planet, I know about it, right? I don't necessarily just subscribe to any of them, but as a whole, you don't have to tell me the details to convince me that there's a conspiracy going on here. I fucking know there is. So anyways, she's a gangster, man. This chick grew up like way back in the day. She's somebody's grandma. She's a granny. She's not like someone's grandma like, oh, had a kid when they were young. She's a fucking straight up old ass granny. And she, back in the day, married a guy who was an accountant. He abused her. He threatened her with a gun. She left him and stole his business, not through divorce, but by cold calling all of his clients and fucking jerking them away from him because her work was better. She said, you know, I'm the one that's been doing all the work. You know that if you stay with him, you're not going to get what you need. And she fucking jacked his business by actually doing better work and cold calling his clients. Gangster. And so I got to respect that because back in the day, women weren't shit. And it wasn't that long ago. And so that's that. So she loves Trump and I respect her as a woman and a survivor and a fucking old schooler, fucking gangster, independent woman who has like made her own way on her own hard work. And so I can't completely discount like her entire belief system. I can't. She's too cool. And frankly, in Montana, there's a lot of people, it's a red state. And I'm not going to run around just hating every single person in Montana because they are a Republican or a Democrat or whatever. Honestly, whatever the fuck they are. Whatever they are is not just any of those things. They are an entire person with a spirit. They're a survivor with a story of the many things that they have accomplished and survived and made it through. They're like a pool of wisdom. And so when you say there's no room in this space for bigots, is there room in this space for recovering bigots? Is there room in this space for recovering haters? Because I'm a recovering hater. I'm a recovering bigot. I'm a recovering piece of shit. The other day, I found this chick on YouTube and I follow her on Instagram. She's super cute. Hold on, I need to pull myself together. I need to manage myself. She's this little cutie. I follow her on Instagram. She's adorable. I found out the other day she has a YouTube channel and so I went and subscribed to it because like I was excited to have somebody new because I'm so sick of everybody's shit. I'm so sick of cookie cutter bullshit. Everybody like Stepford Wives, like, yeah, wow, and I think this is really good, and this isn't really my color story, but I like it anyway, and and use my code, and like all this. Like, I'm tired of that. It's just not interesting to me. Whatever. I don't really give a fuck what other people do. That's fine. They're fine. Like, I don't care. So I found her. She cusses a little bit. She's a little cutie. And the day I followed her on YouTube, subscribed to her channel, she said a statement regarding Ensley Reign and how she wasn't going to use him anymore. And she said, if you're a POS, a racist, a transphobic, a homophobic, asshole, basically, then you can leave. And I thought, I'm not a transphobic. I'm not a homophobic. I never have been. But I am a piece of shit. And I can revert back to being a piece of shit like that. It's crazy to me how quickly I can go back to old behaviors, mean. Oh God, you should see me on the road. I'm a fucking monster. If you're like camping in the left-hand lane, you will hear me become a person that you cannot like or respect. I have no spiritual principles at all. If you're like just moseying along doing 79 in the passing lane, I have no spirituality at all. I turn into a beast behind the wheel of any motorized vehicle. Straight punk as fuck. Like, you want to talk about like a Gen X rebel? Get me on a motor, anything with an engine, and I am like a fucking child who's like, fuck you. So anyway, I am a piece of shit, and I'm usually recovering. I'm usually a pretty decent human, but I'm one moment away from practicing those qualities. And so if you're a bigot or you're a transphobe and you don't even know that you are those things, then how is anybody going to change if they don't have us in their lives, if they don't have anyone in their lives to show them that they're an entire person? That's not all they are. I'm an entire person. I'm not just a junkie. I'm not just a hater. I'm this entire person. One time I told my daughter, I don't want you to hang out with them anymore if they're drinking. And she said, Mom, if I stop hanging out with them, then they're not going to have anyone in their lives that doesn't do that. Okay, Mom, what time do you want me home for dinner? She's so wise. I believe that there is room for all people. I love all people. I love people who love Trump. I love people who love Kamala Harris. I love people who are fucking terrified that the trans fucking agenda that actually isn't real are fucking, gonna take over America. I love all people. That's not who they are. My channel is a place for people slipping through the cracks, because I slip through the cracks. I don't fucking fit in. I couldn't identify with any other YouTube channel except my own. And so I know that there's a lot of people like that. And so I kind of revert back to that conversation that I was having with that woman in my comment section, where she was like, you're not being authentic. You have bias. I know I have bias. Everyone has bias. In college, I learned how to know my biases and check my biases, not have any biases. I have biases. And honestly, it's really like my bias currently is against cancel culture. That's the bias. If you guys sense that I had a bias, it was against cancel culture, because I'm so terrified, because I know that if we can't put all that shit in our back pockets and come together, division is the enemy. It's division. They want to keep us pitted against each other. They want to keep the victims blaming the victims, the poor pointing the finger at the poor. Everyone's fucking distracted by all this bullshit. The straight people scared of the trans people. The trans people scared of the straight people. They want to keep us afraid of each other, pitted against each other. And as long as we're continuing to do that, so in recovery, there's this thing called the Red Road to Wellbriety. And it's kind of rooted in Native American practice. And it's a recovery program from addiction for created by Native Americans that's more true to the traditional Native American culture. And one of the things that it talks about, one of the things that they use in that recovery program is they work on, I'm so sorry, I'm not usually like this. When this video is finished, I'm not going to talk about this anymore. So it's going to be back to dick jokes and the F word and metal music. They work on forgiving the unforgivable because they know that they have to. They know that in order for their people to survive the trauma that they've experienced, they have to forgive the unforgivable. They have no choice. I'm really good at forgiving the unforgivable because I've spent my whole life surrounded by people who are doing unforgivable shit and loving them through it. And do I think that it's forgivable for people to fucking believe that fucking poor trans people shouldn't have a place to pee? You guys gotta watch the Jen Love video to get that one. No, I don't. I've actually had a friend be like, yeah, but Katie, what if your daughter was in a bathroom and some guy with a dick came in there trying to pee? And I just told her, dude, we were in the mall in Missoula. Like, Missoula's pretty tolerant. And I was like, dude, please be quiet, for one. And for two, my daughter wasn't raised that way. My daughter doesn't care about that shit. Like, if somebody with a dick needs to go into the girl's bathroom to pee, fine. Because I guarantee you that there's a huge difference between a guy with a dick going into the bathroom, because that is a fucking threat, than a woman, someone who identifies as a woman with a dick going into the bathroom to pee. They'd probably be the first person to stand up for my kid. So yeah, I'm like super torn up about this whole fucking thing. This whole fucking thing is just so fucking shit. So I'm gonna kind of end with this, and then I'm gonna go finish the rest of my look, or finish the rest of my face. But you know, but wait, there's more. I think I'm gonna try to put that. Ooh. I'm gonna actually take a bigger brush and I'm gonna go into this color right here, and I'm gonna use that as my brow bone highlight. So when I talk about like losing time, when I talk about Ensley Reign and losing time, like, as a recovering addict, and not as a transgender, but as somebody who's actually been struggling to find a reason to stay clean for like 10 years, Ensley Rain has given me a lot of joy. And it's not giving me any joy now. It's not. It hasn't for a while now. But when I think about brands that give me joy, Unearthly has given me so much joy. Notoriously Morbid has given me so much joy. These other fucking brands, they're alright. They're alright. Bella Beauté Bar has given me a little joy. Like, you know, they're alright. But like, when I think of the brands that have truly like given me joy and made my journey in makeup, like where I actually lose time, it's Unearthly, Notoriously Morbid, and Ensley Rain. So, am I a little bit fucking sad about this whole situation? Yeah. Do I think that it's gonna take a long time for some results to come from this? Yeah. Am I fucking super pissed that I would have to like quit using this brand to fight a battle that may or may not even be mine, when I'm just fighting for my own recovery and my own fucking right to have enough joy to fucking be worth staying clean for? I'm a little pissed about it. Do I want to trample on the rights of people who are struggling just to get fucking common respect and fucking fighting for their own lives? No, I don't. But also, many years ago, my daughter was having like, you know, disagreements with her bestie. And she told me, I don't think I want to be her friend anymore. And I was like, well, in this family, we don't just like drop relationships because we're scared to have a hard conversation. So in this family, if we're about to drop the friendship, we don't just throw the baby out with the bathwater. We face it head on and have a hard conversation. We don't just like drop the friendship because we're afraid to face or just say hard things. We're afraid of conflict. We're afraid of that. Like, that's not how we operate. And that's not how I operate. And so if anybody thinks, one person thinks that I'm not being authentic or that I've already turned my back on Ensley Rain, I haven't turned my back on anyone. No one. And if you think I'm not being authentic, you're fucking blind. So I'm going to finish the rest of my face and I'll be back when I'm done. So this is the manifesto, the pièce de résistance. I just want to tell you everything I have on my face is Lele Posh. Every single thing. The lip gloss, the blush, the highlighter, the glitter, every single thing except the eyeliner and the mascara. And I love this fucking lip gloss, god damn it. But it doesn't really matter because you can't get any of these things now. And so it doesn't fucking matter. Like, it's no point in me going through it and showing you all the things that you'll never be able to get. And it's all made by hand and it's all really good. She was actually telling me how proud she was because this is the best formulation she's ever done. Like, her eyeshadow formula was just getting so good. And quite frankly, she's not wrong. These shimmer shadows are fucking bomb. And so she got canceled by people on Instagram, and they actually like sent people to her husband's work and shit. They actually burned her down. And so I'm not acting like she's the big victim, except she is. And so you can understand why just not so quick to jump at all these people who literally don't have any credibility with me at all to like cancel a brand. Last night, your guys' comments, God, your guys' comments, I've cried a lot reading your comments. And both in a good way and a bad, they've just moved me so much. And one of the comments was actually from my friend. Last night she commented and she said, I've been sitting on this for a couple of days, but this topic really hits home because my son is transgender and he's actually just had to fight for basic respect from people. And she said he's had threats to his life. And what can I say to that? What the fuck can I say? What I do want to say is that, like, I'm so glad that he has you in his corner. What I've decided is that I'm not canceling Ensley Reign. I don't want to cancel Endsley Rain because I'm not going to give up on her. I'm not going to give up on anybody. If there's no hope for her, then there's no hope for me either. And quite frankly, there's probably no hope for you either. If there's no hope for her, there's no hope for any of us. I'm not saying that if she doesn't change, she doesn't have value, because I don't believe that. And also, like, I want to be a part of her recovery, not a part of her fucking certain demise. And I feel the same way about all of you guys. People did tell me basically straight out, like, any creator that supports Ensley Reign, I'm not going to support Ensley Reign, and I'm not going to support that creator. And I would just pose to you the fact that maybe people don't need your support. And I would say that if you shut out, if you want to unsubscribe to my channel, I probably won't even know. I probably won't even know you did it. And so, like, all I know is that I won't have your input in my videos and you won't have my input from my videos. So that's the only thing that's going to happen if you unsubscribe to my channel, is we aren't going to have any communication in the future. So, I mean, if that's what you want, that's not what I want. Hear my heart when I say this. I love you. I don't fucking need your support. I have been building this channel for a really long time, and it's a small channel, and I don't have a ton of subscribers. And I have people that are subscribed to this channel who are my ride or dies. They're not gonna abandon me no matter how many mistakes I make, no matter how many people I offend, no matter how many times I do my makeup like shit, no matter how many times I say the F word, no matter how many stupid jokes I make, even if they're embarrassed that their fucking people like heard me say something so stupid, they're not gonna abandon me. I don't need your support. I have support that's solid, and I'd rather have a few people that are solid than many fucking people that don't give a fuck about me. I don't want you, I don't need your support, but I would really like it if you would not leave. Don't watch videos about Ensley Rain, don't do that, but please don't demolish the bridge between what's going on here and what's going on there. I just would ask that, is that your civic duty? Is it your duty in your fight to fight for equal rights and equal treatment for transgenders, LGBTQIA? Isn't a part of that keeping the bridge? If there's no bridge, then nobody can come your way, if there's no bridge. So don't give Ensley Rain your money. Don't support creators that are supporting Ensley Rain. I wouldn't say I'm supporting Ensley Rain. I'm not. It's just not in my moral fiber to abandon somebody because they're fucked up. Because I'm fucked up. And probably so are you. Also, I am not gonna run out. I'm going to purchase Ensley Rain as it gives me joy. And I don't really foresee Ensley Rain giving me any joy for a while. This has really fucking wiped me out. I'll be surprised if I can upload anything. I have this pile of makeup. What I am gonna do is I am gonna include Ensley Rain in my yearly favorites, because like this last year has been probably the hardest year in my recovery. And some of the only good, like some of the only joy I've been able to fucking suck out of this fucked up life that I've had to pull myself out of this hole has been like creating makeup looks. And a lot of that was with Ensley Rain. A lot of it wasn't. A lot of it was other amazing indie brands. A lot of people said there's a lot of other amazing indie brands. Yeah, there is. There is. So like a lot of other brands gave me a lot of joy this year too, but I'm not gonna not include Ensley Rain in my year of joyful makeup. If you don't wanna support Ensley Rain, if you don't wanna buy products from Ensley Rain, please don't. Please don't buy products from Ensley Rain until you see what you think is sufficient evidence that the hands that your money is going into are the hands of somebody who is legitimately supporting your values and your best interests. I seriously, please don't spend money on brands and put money into the hands of people that are doing fucking dastardly shit. And also, when you see the beginnings of change, please have an open mind and an open heart to give people the space that they need to grow into their higher selves, their best selves. The kind of person who the money in those hands, like, is gonna make a difference in this world. I see where everybody's coming from. This is total shit. But like, I'm not supporting the brand. And I don't want people to vote with their dollars and put dollars in the hands of a brand that they can't fucking abide by. If you can't abide by it, don't put money in their hands. I'm not supporting anything that would be intolerant of transgenders. I'm just not abandoning anybody. So that's my final decision. I'm not giving up on her, and I'm not giving up on anybody else. And I hope that we can all like walk away as dear, dear friends. Just kidding. I'm sorry this video was so long. You'll probably never see another video like this, period. Unless fucking something happens with Unearthly and Notoriously Morbid. Then it might look a little different. Like you'll see a much more, I would probably be a lot less passive about it, because honestly I probably won't see this happen. You know, there was a point when I did a giveaway with Notoriously Morbid, and we had decidedly chosen a certain person that was the winner of the giveaway, but they told me, we already contacted her about PR. And I said, well, then you can't let her win the giveaway. She can't win the giveaway, because somebody had actually said to me in my comments one time that they were certain that when Ensley Rain did a giveaway, which I can't help but think that people have been out to get Ensley Rain for a really long time. But I'm not making her the victim. I'm not going to take her situation where she has clearly fucking victimized other people and like make her the victim. But I honestly feel like it's been a fucking witch hunt for Ensley Rain for a really long time. Somebody had said in my comments that the person who won the Ensley Rain giveaway was actually somebody that was on the PR list, and so they knew it was a PR scandal. So when I was doing this giveaway with Notoriously Morbid, and they said, and we had picked a clear winner, I was like, well, you can't give her, she can't be the winner, because everyone will think that you guys are doing some fucking dirty shit. So it could have easily been Notoriously Morbid in that moment that was under scrutiny for, you know, doing whatever. So it could be your brand. It could be your brand that's next for whatever. The mob is quick to turn on you. So I'm not gonna fucking give up on her, because I know that everyone can recover. And you can recover from bigotry. You can recover from addiction. You can even recover from fucking... No, I'll leave that one alone. That's a topic for another time. So, hi, my name is Katie. Welcome to my channel. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell because you can't wait to see what happens next. Hit the like button if you like this look, or if you just like my sparkling personality and my boyish charm, and hang out with me in the comments because I fucking love it. If you got like halfway through this video and you're like, oh my god, she is so pretty till she opens her big fucking mouth, then go check me out on Instagram. I don't talk as much on Instagram. Thank you guys so much for watching. You could have been anywhere, but you were here wasting your time with me, and I totally appreciate you. Later.